people. Well, welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host, as always, Jeff Stormer, and this week on the show, I'm joined once again by Chris Farnell for a game of Disposable Bags of Meat. Chris is, of course, the author of the Fermi's Wake series, which we've talked before about the show, a series of sci-fi adventures on a spaceship that is designed to blow up every planet that it takes off from. The latest installment of that series, Fermi's Wake Overview Effect, is out now, and you can find that wherever books are sold. Or, of course, you can check the show notes for more information. He's also written all kinds of other cool and interesting things, including supplements for Spire and Legacy Life Among the Ruins. He also wrote the crew handbook to Star Trek Lower Decks, which is delightful. And, of course, you can find links to everything that Chris has going on in the show notes. Disposable Bags of Meat is a horror role-playing game about luck, grit, and survival. It is about the triumph of the indomitable human spirit against the overwhelming, horrifying forces from beyond that will threaten to tear us to pieces. It is about the logic of horror movies in which the only thing that keeps people alive when they are facing supernatural threats of which they are incredibly poorly equipped to deal with is luck and skill and survival. Which is to say, this game was fun as hell. I had such a blast making a weird, sort of horrifying sci-fi scenario. This was a delight. I can't wait for you to hear it. You can learn more about Disposable Bags of Meat, which is a title that I am saying in full every single time I say it, because it's great, in the show notes. And with all that said, let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. I am overjoyed to be sitting down once again with my good friend, wonderful author, Chris Farnell. Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me on again.
I have been jotting down some notes, including while furiously jotting down notes while on this call. And let me tell you, I've got some things cooking that I'm very excited about. Why don't you, at the top of our episode, let our lovely listeners at home know about like what we are playing this week, as well as anything else that you've got going on that you might want them to know about.
Absolutely. We're going to be playing a game called Disposable Bags of Meat by X.
Great title. First off, like,
I love the title.
Love a good evocative title.
It says in the rules that you can call it meat bags for short, but I think you have to use the full title each and every time.
It feels like it. I mean, Disposable Bags of Meat really says so much about the experience that we're about to be seeing that I feel like I need the full phrase whenever I think of it.
Exactly. And it is basically a game about people who are woefully unqualified in horrible horror situations, getting by on sheer luck and stick-to-itiveness without really having any actual applicable skills.
I'm so stoked.
It just so happens that I have written a series of stories about a bunch of people with no applicable skills in a situation where they're way out of their depth. That is the two series of novellas now. The first one is called Fermi's Progress. The one that is releasing now is called Fermi's Wake. And they are both about the Starship Fermi, a prototype FTL ship that blows up every planet that it encounters. And so Fermi and Disposable Bags of Meat have teamed up, and if you buy the season pass of Fermi's Wake from the indie bookshop Scarlet Ferret, you will also get Every Which Way is West, a Disposable Bags of Meat Fermi-themed micro setting that will have you playing the Fermi crew on a sort of Wild West-themed alien planet.
I love that. I'm so excited. And so I have been jotting down notes on a particular horror planet to drop somebody onto. But first, like, what's got you excited? What's on your mind as we're sitting down to play today? Like, what are you looking forward to, and what are you looking to get out of the game that we are playing today here on this call?
Well, it's going to be quite a weird experience because I'm going to be playing Chant, the writer of Disposable Bags of Meat. He has actually done up character profiles for each of the crew of the Fermi. So it's going to be the first time I'm basically playing an RPG with a character that I've written in fiction. So I am very excited / nervous to see how that's going to go in real time.
I am very excited. I think the thing I'm excited about is like I spent a long time walking around today being like, what is the horror scenario that I want to like put a character through, and like where do I want this character to wind up, and just thinking about like stories that I've read recently or things that have been on my mind, and really finding the angle, and once I found the angle, I was like, oh, there's going to be a lot of like weird shit that I can mix into this story and sort of just really gleefully play in the space of kind of showing you a fucked up guy and just going like, hey, look at this thing. Look at this. Think about that. Wouldn't that be fucked up? And like, I think that, like, admittedly, I am not immune to the kind of horror that's just pointing at like a weird thing and going like, oh man, doesn't that look fucked up?
I love, the uncanniness of it when you get something that shouldn't be right, but is working. I love like Annihilation and sort of Cronenbergian horror. That whole space is a lot of fun.
There's obviously within horror, there's a lot of like deep ground for, you know, metaphor and for thematics and for like, you know, things that are capital I important. But sometimes I just want to be able to look at a thing and go, oh, that's nasty. Oh, that's some nasty shit. And like, that's magic. There's magic to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, just the sheer, why has it got so many tentacles of it? It's a good place to be in.
We kind of discussed like a little bit about like what we were thinking as we were planning, but like the idea that you had kind of floated to me was like we were going to like strand a character or place a character on a horrible murder planet, and they were going to try to survive. So like, let me ask you, like, what, and this also ties into kind of the first step of like, I guess the final step of like character creation in Disposable Bags of Meat, which is like, you've got a character, I've got kind of a scenario. What is your character's like goal? What is bringing your character to a place where they are like in a deep space, somewhat Star Trek-esque survey mission that is like floating over like a planet that has dropped off of the radar? Like, what brings you to a mystery planet?
Well, the Fermi's whole thing is that the warp drive, whenever it powers up, it's basically based on the old series of Star Trek where they would bring in a new planet each week and then you would never hear of it again. So the Fermi's warp drive, when it powers up, it just nukes the planet behind it, just leaves it nothing but dust. And they can't turn it off, and so every planet, they're basically just landing, trying to trade or steal or find whatever resources they need to keep them all alive for the next bit of the journey, and then trying to get out before their spaceship blows everything up or whatever they found there kills them. And the character I'm going to be playing, it was a hard pick deciding which crew member to play, but I'm going to be playing Elizabeth Gordon, who is the billionaire tech magnate who bankrolled the sort of salvage mission that first found the Fermi spaceship. And so in her own mind, she's the captain. The other crew may have opinions on that. And she's fun because she's not an ethical person. She's someone who views herself as very ready to make the tough choices. And if there aren't any tough choices to be made, she will find some.
I cannot believe that you have chosen such a perfect character for the scenario that I have mapped out to really bring this person through a specific kind of hell. So I'm thrilled. The opening of the scenario what I will say, where we begin, is that you have received a distress signal from like a distant world that is not really like on any sort of registry, or I guess hasn't like in going through what I would say of like several decades, has not like been listed on any sort of like active galactic registry of like planets that can sustain interstellar communication or transportation or anything. Like, this is a barren wasteland world that is suddenly sending up a very advanced distress signal. Out of that scenario, what does Elizabeth want? What is the thing? What is the goal in receiving this, in getting this distress signal? And what are the three stages of that goal?
Well, if it's a distress signal that they picked up over interstellar distances, that implies some sort of faster than light signaling, which typically the Fermi is the only thing faster than light it ever encounters. So that seems like it could be a tool to, maybe get out of the situation they're in. So Liz isn't going to be interested in, helping anyone in distress in particular, but she would like a look at their phone. So I think get to the planet, find where the signal's coming from, and just, see if there's anything useful to steal.
Find the signal, decipher the technology, snatch and grab.
Yeah, that's pretty much their MO.
Miranda Iris 12 is the 12th moon of the sort of dual rotating planets of Miranda and Iris. It is like a small sort of forested moon situation, and it seems to be blasting a distress signal like out into the void. We see this planet on the computer screens, and it's not really signaling anything, and there's not really any kind of communication that's following it. It's just sort of signaling, hey, we're here and we need help. Like, it's very, imagine just hitting, the default text box that pops up if you were to open if you imagine like a text autocomplete filling out a 911 request and just opening it up with like, hello, I need assistance, please arrive at your earliest convenience, thank you, and just hitting that button again and again and again. Where do we see Elizabeth when she gets word of this distress signal?
Well, she'll probably be in the ship's situation room, which is basically just a great big curved sofa pointing at a gigantic telly. So she'll probably be in there, looking at her tablet, just generally trying to work out which planet to blow up next. And this one, has a signal. And there's never any signals as far as the Fermi is concerned. It's most of the time, the first time they learn about civilization is when they're in orbit around them, and they're going to be dead soon. So this is already very interesting.
There's not really any, I think the first big thing to emerge is like, there's not really any indication, there's not a call for communication, right? Like, these distress signals are not being followed by any sort of like call, any sort of like, there's not a comms deck to like reach out to. So like, I guess the thing that I will ask is like, what is the, and like, it doesn't seem like there's going to be any real way to like, establish contact with Miranda Iris 12 that's not go onto the surface of Miranda Iris 12, which brings up the valuable question. Are you bringing the entire Fermi down planet side? Are you assembling a ground crew? Are you going solo? Like, there's clearly somebody there. There's clearly a panic. What's the plan to like actually make contact here?
Well, we've got a couple of space planes aboard. The Fermi is generally sort of cobbled together from all sorts of Cold War technology that's been stolen from various places. but the landers are very sleek, swish. They're basically made by Gordon's own company, and they are called Spider and Snoopy. So we'll probably take Snoopy down, and I think we'll probably take like a couple of crew. I think Gordon, Samson, who is our sort of eugenically bred, problematic Superman type character, and Regita, our engineer, will probably be the three people we take down. I think we'll probably get separated from them pretty quickly to get into the horror. But that'll be that'll be our mission, our away team to start with.
Almost immediately, you're gonna get separated when the Snoopy, as it descends into Miranda Iris 12's atmosphere, gets like the thing that is invisible. We see the planet taking shape. We see, the sky, space opening up to sky, and planet revealing below. There is what you see kind of in the distance, and sort of the Snoopy starts to make its way towards this. Like, there is like what appears to be a city structure. You can imagine this distress signal is probably blinking from this from whatever this small city is. Like, it's all, deep forest with like kind of a series of skyscraper like city structures, very Art Deco, very retro sci-fi, kind of jutting out from the canopy of this overgrown forest.
I've got a question already. Obviously, we've got our mysterious SOS that we can detect from light years away. But now we're a bit closer. Is there anything on like the FM range? Are we picking up any normal broadcasts or radio signals or TV or anything?
Weirdly, no. It is, you are scanning the airwaves, and it is static across every channel. Like, there is this steady blinking of a distress beacon, but every other single channel seems to be static. Like, it is in a moment where I get to use a phrase that you know is cliche, but then when you get the chance to use it, you gotta use it. It's quiet. It's, in fact, too quiet.
Great. I mean, I think that's probably a really good sign. I think this already has all the hallmarks of just a really great routine bit of technology salvage.
And I think as you think those words, that's when the Snoopy gets sideswiped in midair. That's when. Talk to me about propulsion systems. Are we talking jets? Are we talking sort of more like an airplane, more like a starship? Like, what's the propulsion method, and where does an animal get lodged within it?
Well, it's a sort of hybrid system. So you've got these two jets underneath that function a bit like air-breathing jets while in atmosphere, but can then convert into more of a sort of rocket system as they're coming out of atmosphere. So if something got lodged in it, it would probably be in there. And now you mention it, I think even Gordon is wondering why this doesn't happen more often.
We have got ourselves what I can only describe as a Sully Sullenberger Miracle on the Hudson style bird in the jet engine situation. There is a flutter of feathers and like a mass of squawking and barking outside as you look. There is like a massive flock of animals flying by that collide with the Snoopy. One of them flies straight into the jet engine. The jet engine bursts a flame and starts to spiral and twirl in the way that a plane with one engine will fly and twirl. You're gonna have to eject off of this ship, or else it's gonna be a very ugly crash.
Okay. Going to crawl to the suit lockers, climb into a spacesuit, and I think gonna have to pull the ejector.
I think this is probably, especially with the complication outside, the second you pull the ejector, this is going to be our first roll. So what this is going to look like in Disposable Bags of Meat, your actions are largely rolling on a D100 to roll equal to or under a target number. You can describe to me what advantages you want to to lower your dice result or to make easier the target number. I'm currently setting this at, there's guidelines in the book that like an easy is a 10, easy is an 80, and this shouldn't work as 10 or lower. I'm going to set this at challenging 60 to avoid getting hurt, and I can describe to you what's about to happen, or you can roll and find out after.
Okay, well, I think the main thing is to just be out of the ship before you're too low for being out of the ship to do you any good. So I think it's all about timing. And Liz has the skills of technology and girl boss, which isn't actually a skill Chant has specified, but Gordon insisted. So I don't think either of them. Maybe technology.
I could buy it. I'll buy it. I'll bump it to a 70. I think I'll bump it to a 70.
Yeah, I mean, most of this is, equipment that Gordon herself has at least employed someone else to design. So, and we have got 98. Man, that seems like a waste of a good roll, to be honest. But yeah, we're doing okay. Oh wait, no, 98. That is bad, isn't it? No.
That's almost as bad as it can possibly be.
No. Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel less bad about the roll then. I suppose. Okay. What's happening now?
You eject out of the ship, and this is when you get a first glimpse at the animals that have jammed themselves into the Snoopy's jet. You are surrounded by like a flock of birds that are flying with the approximate flight pattern of like of ducks or geese. So approximately in that flying V formation. The fact that they are guinea pigs the size of like mid-sized dogs, the size of a pit bull, with gigantic duck wings that appear to have been surgically stitched onto their like hindquarters, feels a little confusing. But they are flying with the formation of a duck, and one of them has accidentally rammed into the jet of the Snoopy, and you are battered repeatedly by these flying dog ducks that are like crashing into you and are now like, in the combination of the way that like a dog gets excited when it thinks it's time to play and a duck gets mad when you fuck with it, which terrifying, angry little birds, and I am afraid of them to this day. That's sort of the energy that these flying creatures are taking to you, crashing into them repeatedly, and are just hurled from place to place, and your ejector seat is twirling in all directions. And I think rather than I think I'm going to inflict a consequence in the short term, and we can decide when of just like completely of disoriented, like, because like you have ejected and have gone, and like the x-axis or the z-axis of the plane has shifted in all directions, and up is down, is left is right, and like by the time you finally crash down, and I think the ejector seat like absorbs the physical harm of it. You're scraped and bruised, but you're not injured in a meaningful way, but like all sense of direction is scattered. You have no idea where the Snoopy has ended up, and you are alone in a planet. And hey, we should probably talk about the dogs with wings surgically stitched on at some point, but maybe later.
Yeah. Okay, so have I hit the ground yet?
I think you collide into the canopy of trees Do you stay in the ejector seat, or are you thrust out of the seat into the ground?
I think I'm coming straight out the ejector seat. I think I'm just getting hurled.
You go tumbling across the ground. You slam into a tree. You are dazed for a moment. You climb to your feet, and you are alone deep in the woods. You have no idea where your ship has gotten off to. And things are about as scary and disorienting as they can be.
Right, okay. Pissed off. Normally, we manage to at least land on the planet before everything starts trying to kill us. I think look around, get our bearings, see, where we are. And what sort of forest are we in? Do the trees look like trees?
Trees look like trees. The trees look like trees. There are like scratch marks and like occasional like acid burns in some of them. Like there are clearly unnatural markings in many of the trees, but they don't appear to have been done like it does not appear to be like an organized operation as much as just shit has been clawing at trees left, right, and center in various ways, and like not done with the kind of precision that feels like it would be a natural extension of an appendage to scratch a tree in the manner that you're seeing trees be scratched in.
Right. I'm going to check my phone. What sort of signal have I got?
Oh, it's got to be no signal, right? Like, that's the most horror movie imaginable. It's got to be that you are completely isolated. You got to check.
Yeah. Is it still intact, though? Does it have, like, a
still surprisingly intact.
Yeah.
Surprisingly intact, and you can see, like, there is a link between your phone and the Snoopy where you can kind of see that the Snoopy is a few miles northeast of here, and like you can kind of see above the trees on the edge of the horizon, you can see the edges of like this large city structure, and it seems like the Snoopy is kind of has crashed down on the exact opposite side of like the city structure.
Of course. So we've got to go through the sinister, quiet alien city with the mysterious distress signal in.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I'm going to quickly... I think time to start walking. I think let's keep this simple, not try and get clever yet. Let's start walking in the direction of the city.
What do you do when you hear like distinct ruffling in the tree branches above you? Not ruffling like a creature is moving with grace or precision, or like it's like something is hurtling towards you in a way, like more like something is hurtling towards you from the branches above, less like something is moving with grace or precision.
Leaping and rolling out of the way immediately.
Great. You roll out of the way, you hear it coming for a moment, and it scratches and its claws and it's hissing and it's mewling until finally leaping out of the tree with the hunting precision of a creature that I will describe to you in a moment. The exact level of hunting precision of a creature that I can only describe as a rat king, but for full-sized cats, comes hurtling at you from the tree windows and starts just like clawing up trees and scratching and biting in 8 different directions at once.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to check the other side of my utility belt and see if I still have my gun.
Gun is still here.
Oh, it's still here. Okay. It's not great, but it's sort of... It looks a bit like an actual Nerf gun. It's all 3D printed components. So it's like a big, chunky 6-shooter type thing. So I'm going to be relieved that's there. And I'm going to back away from the Cat King and just keep heading towards the city, I think. I don't want any part of that.
Give me a roll. Give me a roll. Like I think in the way that I imagine 8 cats would be distracted by something, I think it's fairly distracted by having caught like a rat or a large bug, but like to avoid getting its attention, this is going to be easy, so I'm setting the number at 80.
Okay. That is 44. We're okay.
Okay. Great. Yeah. This thing is distracted. You back away, you narrowly avoid like stumbling backwards over a stump. And you keep moving forward. The forest is it is alive with all of the sounds of like a thick, overgrown, rainforesty kind of vibe, right? It is humid. It is very almost green to the point where it's almost like hurting your eyes a little bit. Like the depth and brightness and saturation of the green is almost overwhelming. And there are more of these like claw marks and things. And it really does just it's a little bit slapdash. It's a little bit like haphazard. And the thing that you just keep noticing is like you're looking at these claw marks and you're looking at that. You're thinking about that cat king that has leapt at you and then scurried back into a bush and might emerge later. It did seem like in watching that thing move, as you backed away, as you kept your eye on it, like it wasn't moving in the way that like a naturally forming organism that just happened to be 8 cats merged together at the tail would move. It was moving in the way that 8 cats that previously moved independently and have now been merged at the tail, each trying to move in its direction and periodically figuring out that they can cooperate with each other for exactly long enough as it's convenient, as that animal seems to move. And you think about that and you look at these claw marks and like they all kind of have that energy of these claw marks are chaotic in the exact way of like looking at creatures or animals or aliens that are figuring out how to use its claw for the first time, or its acid spit for the first time, or its talon for the first time, or what have you. There's like an amateurishness to the quality of these claw marks.
I think that if the ship's biologist and flight surgeon was here, she would be fascinated by this. She would be having just a great time. Gordon is noping out of it. She is just heading straight towards the thing that looks like it might be a bit like civilization and just, noping out. She's not a go and look at the mysterious organism sort of a person. She doesn't stick her face into the strange pulsating egg. She is just walking.
Give me a roll here.
Okay.
And I think that I think this is going to be challenging because I think we, the viewer, see a shadowy mass over your shoulder. And I want to see if you like avoid catching its attention and if you can move quick enough to avoid it.
Okay, that is 11.
Phenomenal. You are able to. I think you notice that you're being followed. I think like I at an 11 on a 60, I'm going to say that is a strong enough roll that you avoid getting caught off guard, and that you can choose how you react when you realize that something is following you. When you feel you like put a hand on a tree and you feel that tree bend for a second in the way that like a tremendous weight may have just leaned on a tree. And then you hear a rustle above you and you duck down and you watch with what can only be described as like an absolutely massive prehensile tail wrapping around tree branches, but in the process, like pulling them down or periodically like ripping a tree branch, a limb of a tree entirely out as it kind of swings from limb to limb. You are watching imagine a gorilla, but with a proportionately large and heavy and strong and durable monkey-like prehensile tail. And like a surgically added like long aardvark snout
Wow.
comes like crashing down and like swinging on limbs of trees, periodically ripping them out of the trees themselves. As it like lands on a rock, it scans the area and it kind of like mutters into like a very, looks like almost like a child's walkie-talkie, like, the off-worlders are gone. We will find them. Don't worry. Don't worry. We will find them. This great moment will not. This is our moment. I promise. And like he continues to like leap from space to space.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's good to know that the phone's translator's working as well.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, so I think
I think there's a moment where you like maybe you like look at your phone and that's when you notice that like you've got the sort of distress beacon or like homing beacon to the ship, but the other like settings on your phone, like you try to pull up the translator app to confirm it's working and notice that like most of the rest of like the phone did get damaged in such a way that many of your other apps are not accessible, which I say only to say I don't think that the translator actually is working.
right, because often you will run into things that happen to evolve to look a bit like stuff on Earth.
For sure.
Sharks look like dolphins, look like ichthyosaurs, similar problems, similar solutions. But yeah, things have been looking quite a lot Earth-like, which, given Earth's destroyed, is interesting. And if it's speaking in English, that is especially interesting. So do we see which way has the aardvark gorilla monkey just swung off into the trees now?
Leapt in the general direction of the city where you're heading, like, but like leaping in the kind of a zigzag pattern, clearly like scanning the area for where it thinks that presumably you have landed. It certainly seems like you are the intended prey for this search party.
Okay. Well, I think that in this situation, the best thing to start doing is shouting, "Hey, come back!"
Great. Oh, phenomenal. Good.
There are things in this jungle that are going to eat me. There's someone else that wants to take me prisoner. The decision-making, the prison looks like the safer option. So,
crash, smash, tearing through trees. This gorilla lands in front of you, stands up, broadens its shoulders, and like offers a hand and says like, "Are you okay? Did you survive the crash okay?"
Yes. I've got a lot of questions, but first, I hate it when I have to say this. Take me to your leader.
Kind of like gestures to his shoulders and like offers you like a ride, and you kind of start to see kind of a bird's eye view of like life within the jungle canopy and around like the outskirts of the city. And there's clearly like alien animals, right? Like there is like alien birds floating among trees and like weird bugs that don't exist on Earth, which makes the presence of like the weird earthen chimera animals that you keep seeing, all the more present. When you see like a bunch of like blue sort of lizard birds that are like very clearly like an alien organism, and they get trampled and devoured by a massive elephant-sized cat with saber-toothed tiger horns that comes, or saber-toothed tiger teeth, that is just tearing through and screeching. One of these things does not look like the other.
No. So how are we traveling at the moment? Are we just
You are
being Tarzan and chained through the trees?
Give me a roll. I think this is gonna be challenging to like hold steady, because this gorilla has just figured out how to use his prehensile tail. It was not a thing. He's not moving with the grace of someone that was born with a prehensile tail.
Okay, I got a 32.
Okay, great. Yeah, you are Tarzan and Janing it through this jungle, and it's not pleasant, to be clear. It's not easy, to be clear. Like, it is, periodically, like, he rips the limb off of a tree and like you fall for a second, and he kind of grabs you by the scruff of your neck and does another jump. Like, it is clearly, I figured out how to use my shit to swing between trees. I could probably carry someone else, and by the time he realizes that he really can't, he's too far gone to like stop doing it. So he's just sort of like periodically hurling you back onto his shoulders or to the next tree stop. But eventually, after great distress and dismay, you kind of crest the edge of the city proper.
Right, and you said Art Deco. We're talking very metropolis-y, sort of retro, future-y, sort of
everything. And then now that you're close to it, the thing you notice is that it's all rusted to shit.
Right.
Imagine if like the set of the film Metropolis as it would look after it sat in a Hollywood backlot for 80 years. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Completely dilapidated, clearly built to be very visually impressive and stylistic, and now crumbling and rusted and in complete and utter disrepair. Nobody has done anything to like care for these buildings in 80 years.
Okay, and are we stopping here, or are we still Tarzan and Janing it?
I think stops and like touches down, and there is on. Well, I was gonna say horseback, but like I can't. It's not just gonna be horseback, right? We're in agreement about that,
yeah,
right?
No doubt.
Can't just be horseback. Not now. It's gotta be. Oh, that's pretty good. So to peel back the curtain now. Once I have in front of me a game table that is dear to my heart that I've rolled many, many times, and it is the Animal Character Generation table from the 1980s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role-playing game.
Excellent.
And what I'm doing is truly just rolling random animals and then going like, oh, what happens if you mashed these two together in a horrifying fashion?
I love that.
So when I tell you that they're sitting on gigantic, distended looking frogs, picture frogs the size of horses.
Yes. Okay. So I gather Gordon has managed to get this far without throwing up into her space helmet. So well done her for that. So I think she's going to steady herself and go, okay, so can you just tell me what the Dr. Moreau's Island is going on here?
Over your shoulder, like a little alien bug kind of flies by, and immediately a frog tongue that is about the size of a human leg whips past the side of your head and snatches this like bug that's the size of a parrot, like snatches this weird fucked up alien bug, and like you watch it eat it in real time, and pus and guts spill out. Like,
Oh, lovely.
imagine the joy of watching a frog eat a fly, but everything is amplified by a size scale of about 20.
Yeah. Still not spewing in the helmet. Just
Great.
constant wins today.
Great. Winds all the way down. Hopping off of one of these frog horses. Pheasant wings, or like peacock wings, kind of draped over her shoulders, kind of forming a makeshift shoulder cape. A human-sized muskrat with the head and beak of a crow like hops down and like kind of holding the edges of her wings the way that you would hold a neck of a cape, like comes towards you and goes,
I know. I found that word can have an awful lot of different meanings. Can you be more specific?
"You are..." She pauses for a moment. "Of the scientists, yes?"
Yes. Yes, I am.
Immediately like drops her arms and like grabs you and pulls you in for the weirdest sort of fuzzy hug as like pheasant wings kind of wrap around your shoulders. And she today in weird Google searches, do crows have tears? Probably not, right?
I'm not sure. They
Crows have lacrimal glands that produce tears just like humans. Huh.
Yeah.
All right, great. So she's crying into your shoulder.
Okay, Gordon is really not comfortable with that. More the crying than the whole crowhead thing, but it's an awkward moment for her.
Like pulls back, is like holding you at arm's length by the shoulders. We have been waiting for so long for another scientist, another creator, another wizard to come and bless us. We are so happy that the work can continue.
Okay, so again, just drawing on what experience Liz has and her general disposition as a person, if someone greets you like you are the second coming, you say, yes, I am the second coming. So, absolutely. Yes, the work must continue. But first, I think we need to go to your centre of government, or the place where you do the science, so that I can get caught up on what's happened while we've been away.
Fantastic. Fantastic. They're like walking you through the city, and like you see more of these animal hybrids. Like not really like within the city proper, but like trying to like kind of like around it, in the way that like cats might occupy a dumpster is the best way to describe the way that these chimeras seem to be like occupying city buildings and such. Like, it's clear that they're not using it to its full advantage, and it's sort of just, they'll periodically sleep there and be like, oh, I keep my food here, but like there's not a lot past that.
I'm gonna ask, who built this city?
She kind of like she kind of like paused and goes, the wizard built this city when he first arrived here from Earth many years ago. This was to be his home, his gathering place for the best and the brightest. This was to be his utopia. And from that utopia came us.
Right. The wonderful wizard. Okay. And this wizard wasn't taken down in some sort of revolutionary uprising or anything?
I'm gonna ask. That is such an interesting question that I think I have to ask you for a roll. I think this is a challenging role to avoid specifically offending Queen Caliban.
Okay, well, I think this is definitely a girl boss situation, so I'm going to
This feels like
apply
girl boss.
my 20 girl boss skill. So that makes this. Oh, I needn't have worried. Yeah, that's like -5. So.
Oh fuck yeah, great. She like rears back for a moment and places a hand on her chest, like we would never hurt the wizard. He was wonderful to us. He gave us life. He brought us to life. He woke us up. He gave us all of the gifts that we have. And she like broadens her feathers wide, like she let me see the skies. Like, why would we ever hurt the one that gave us life? We lived happily together for. And she like goes real quiet, and the gorilla standing nearby like bites his knuckle and holds back a tear. For all of his days.
Well done. You passed the test. So
There was a test? We passed the test? Everyone, we passed the test! The wizard had a test for us. Please tell us about the test.
I just wanted to make sure that you all remained so steadfastly loyal to the wizard. So, did this wizard, did he die or leave, or what became of him?
She holds back a tear, like he died. He left us. He passed away. All things, as we have learned with our heightened intelligence, all things must and will die, and that includes us. And we watched he led a wonderful life, and he waited. He promised us that more like him were coming, and we waited and waited, and then he finally passed away, and we continued to wait. And now you're here, and now you can continue the work, so that. And she kind of pauses and looks concerned, like, so that when we die, this city and this world doesn't die with us.
Yes, that would be terrible. I'm going to need to look through the wizard's stuff.
Of course. We've kept his room in pristine quality. And she like shuffles you onto the back of a horrifying frog horse, and you are racing down the streets, and you arrive at the building of the wizard. And it is in one of these buildings. It is a shitty, unkept, frankly, there is dust in the air, and there is like the stink of formaldehyde and chemical smell in the air. It is a laboratory, capital L laboratory, that like has not been cleaned or touched in what looks like it could have been 15, 20 years.
Right. Okay. I think at this point, Gordon's probably got to climb out of her spacesuit, because I think this is going to require a bit of fine searching through pockets and things. And it's going to go into the laboratory. And is the wizard here? What happened to the wizard's body?
Great question. There is I think I'd like the wizard's body to be here. I think that's a fun touch. So I think there's got to be like a cryostasis tube.
Yeah.
A cryostasis tube, but like to be clear, the body in it is not perfectly preserved. Like it got moved here after a while, so there's like a pretty rapidly decaying body that is sort of like held in stasis, but held in stasis like a couple days or weeks too late.
Right. So, and is the body wearing anything?
Body is wearing like tattered lab clothes, like a lab coat and like shirt and tie.
Is the face recognizable at this point?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so, but I think there are like around the lab, like there's like a family photo that like of a guy wearing a similar outfit that you can tell that this is the same guy from the photo of the guy standing in front of an incubation chamber with a weird animal fetus with formaldehyde inside.
Okay, well the timing lines up quite neatly with when the scientist who built the Fermi and also was responsible for Samson's whole terrible eugenics program thing, he disappeared about 15 to 20 years ago. So, gonna check the photos and see if this is the same guy or if someone else made it off planet Earth.
Oh, it's so captivating to me to really throw some gasoline on this and say, like, as you're rifling through photos, you find a photo of, it's not the same scientist, but there is a photo of that scientist with this guy. Like,
Ooh.
and it's like from years ago. Like, it's clear that they were fucked up mad scientist peers is the best way to describe it.
Okay, right. So we found one of his old co-workers / rivals / nemesis.
Yeah.
Is there anything with a name on it?
There absolutely is. Helen Respro. Dr. Helen Respro.
Helen Respro. Right. Does Gordon know that name as someone who's fairly up on scientists in the whole aerospace / bioweapons sphere?
I like it more if no. Here's what, you know what? This is a very interesting use of an in-game mechanic.
Yeah.
This is a very good in-game mechanic of I think that there is a role to be made here. I think this is a very different kind of a role, but there is a role to be made here. You can just flat out say that you have not heard of them, or you can roll to see if you know his deal and like what he was up to.
Okay, I think we're gonna roll and see what Respro is.
And I think this is a flat 50, I think.
Okay. Do technology or girl bossing have any bearing on this?
I might throw technology into this.
Okay, that would bring me to 41.
Great. You know the name Respro. Not well, but like you've heard the name almost mockingly used in science circles. In the same, like it is almost the name Respro has almost taken a shorthand of crack, like Respro's folly. Like somebody might call themselves a Respro if they think that they are like knee deep in like a doomed exploit. Like it has the feeling of oh, I'm gonna like float balloons into space. Like the name has the reputation of, oh, this person was doing something foolish and like committed to it with such vigor that they probably got themselves killed.
Right, okay, yeah, no, Gordon's been accused of Resproing once or twice, I think. Right, so I think we're gonna. I'm very aware of the sort of gradually more impatient acolytes waiting by the door. So I'm going to look around for anything like to get this far. Respro must have had a way to travel this distance without blowing the earth up. So anything on propulsion, just anything on how they got here and what they're doing.
I love getting when a question that I hadn't thought of gets asked, and then I note somehow the immediate answer comes to mind of like what the horrible reality is. Uh, you find there are schematic details, and like there are like pictures of a craft, right? Like there are schematic details, and like you see what you see and what you kind of notice. Thinking about the city that you saw flying in, like there were schematic details, and there's like the outside of a wing. Like there's like an image of a an interstellar cruiser and like the outside of a wing that, as you look at it and think about it for a second, matches perfectly the outside of one of these buildings within the city itself.
Right. Okay. So the city's been built out from the ship.
Ripped out piece by piece over what seems
Oh,
like a lifetime, ripped asunder and used to patchwork itself
no.
into like a functioning colony while waiting for other people to arrive.
Right. Is there anything like usable on the schematics?
I don't think. Make me a roll. This is
Okay.
a roll to this is a roll.
Okay. That is a 53. I'm going to guess technology applies here. So say that's,
Technology applies here.
yeah, 33.
Um. So what this is going to say is like you are able to identify the danger that you are in, right?
Yeah.
I think that like what this looks like is like you are able to identify the answer is probably at one point, but nothing here has been stored in a way that is good, and there's a lot of very volatile things that uh are probably either leaking radiation or likely to leak radiation or likely to just explode in the very, very, very short term.
I should have stayed in the spacesuit and not gone and stuck my face up against the pulsating egg. I understand that now.
You should.
Okay, well, now seems like a really good time to leave quickly and demand that my acolytes take me towards the communication device.
For sure. Oh, this is a roll for sure because they are not going to be happy as you start to leave. You start to make a move, and the gorilla steps up and like stands in your way. Is like, why are you leaving? This is where the work is going to happen.
Friend, look around you. Do you honestly think that even someone of my expertise could do all of this alone?
We don't need you to do, well, the wizard did it all alone. We need you to do what the wizard did.
The wizard was, even among my people, considered an exceptional talent. For me to continue their work, I need to get back in touch with my ship in the sky and bring more scientists, more experts, so that we can achieve what the wizard achieved.
Queen Caliba steps forward. No, you don't understand. You don't understand. We are running out of time. We don't have time to wait. We've been waiting for more scientists for so long. We are running out of time. We have started to die of aging ourselves. We need you to create. We need you to make more of us.
Believe me, nobody here understands that we are running out of time more than me. But on the ship, I have a doctor who is skilled in matters of biology and reproduction, and she is really the most qualified to help you with your whole deal.
I think this is a roll, but I don't think this is. I think this is a very low roll. I think this is probably a 30.
Okay, I'm girl bossing this. I'm girl bossing
for sure.
I rolled an 18.
Oh my god. So, okay, yeah. Great. When you say another doctor, they're like two wizards, two scientists, two wizards. We could have twice as many of us. They could make all kinds of animal creations. They could make even more of us. We could thrive. We could conquer the planet. They never came for us. The outsiders, the people that they promised, the visitors, what did the wizard call them? The tourists? They never came. You could make more of us and we could become unignorable.
Yeah. Well, let's head over to the communications device and yeah, we will get right on that. Small question. Were there do you know of any people who were here when the wizard arrived?
No, it was only the wizard. It was only the wizard and his ship and our predecessors.
Right. Okay, let's think about that later. Let's find that communication device.
They take you, I think, to the top of like an old, like along the top of like what appears to kind of be like a ship's, like the ship's mast repurposed into sort of a cell phone tower haphazardly, and it's sort of tilting almost like the Leaning Tower of Pizza, like, and there's just like a large beacon, like blinking beacon on top of it. This is the signal, which is your second goal, but like it's very clear that there is not a way to formulate this. Like it's this is the spaceship, the Fermi equivalent of like a Morse, of like sending out a distress signal via Morse code. It explains why the signal you got was so rudimentary and lacked so much context. Was effectively your ship was decoding like a carrier pigeon or a telegram, like something like that, and that's the picture that you've got.
Okay, so can I alter the signal to get a message to the Fermi?
You can certainly try, but it's a bit like and you can apply technology to this. I'm going to set it at another 30 because I think it is the equivalent of like trying to convey context via Morse. You know, it's the equivalent of you or I trying to type in Morse code with a little telegram.
Okay, so let's go technology again. And that is 00 good or bad when you're rolling a D100?
That's a great question.
I think that's 100. I think I've just rolled the worst. But
I think you have, but I'm looking it up. I'm pulling up the rule text.
I have got my 20 points of tech, but I'm not sure that counts when you've rolled an actual 100.
Rolls of 100 are always counted as failure. Yep. A roll of double zeros always fails.
Okay.
So this is the worst case scenario.
Yeah, excellent. Good. Okay. So what happens?
What's the worst case scenario here? It's got to be that the whole communications array just like you start typing and like it's clear that this was dangling by such a thread that the entire thing like bursts and explodes and gosh, I'm tempted to I said explodes and I'm honestly tempted to just set the whole thing on fire and really escalate it from there. Yeah. The thing catches fire.
Okay. Yeah, gonna dive out of the way of the explosion. What are the watching hybrids doing?
Full on panic. Everyone is scattering in all directions. You do get the sense that many eyes are on you. Give me a roll to dodge out of the way of this fire and explosion and rapidly collapsing tower.
That is 70.
If you want to spend 10 points of luck, I have set this at a 60.
I think I'm going to spend 10 points of luck on this one. I think I don't want to burn to death just yet.
Partially so that we can at an hour and 15 minutes explain that the core rule of the game is that you have a pool of luck to change the outcome of a roll.
Yes.
And can at any point decrease your result by 1 by spending a luck point. So you've rolled a 70, you can spend 10 luck points to reduce your roll to a 60 and succeed at the action.
That's right. So I've done that. I got lucky this time. And right, just so I can check. Just tell me where we are. What's going on?
You have rolled out of the way. You have tumbled down like some stairs. You are further scraped and battered, but like you are out of the way. The tower proceeds to like fall and collapse around you, and you duck out of the way. You've still got your phone and your signal, but looming over you, tail flitting like a cat on the hunt, is this gorilla who stands up like, "We believed in you, and you sabotaged us. Now they'll never come. Now the tourists will never come, and we will never be welcomed into the galaxy. They will abandon us. We believed in you."
Okay, I'm going to keep one hand on my gun at this point and say, we are nowhere near that point yet. Every new venture will hit some setbacks. I'm sure your own wizard taught you that. We just need to regroup, look for any way to repair or duplicate this technology, and find a way to get a signal to my ship.
This is going to be a roll of 50 to avoid making the gorilla even angrier.
Yeah, I figured as much. Can I girl boss?
I'll give girl boss.
Yeah. Okay, that is... Yeah, 10 with girl boss, that brings it down to minus numbers, so... Yeah. Very reassuring, very in charge, very authoritative.
Very in charge.
Yeah.
However, I think the downside of that is that you continue to dig deeper in the sense of we're gonna do the science, and more and more animal creatures are gathering around to say like, you're going to build, you're going to make things even better. You're going to make us a new beacon. You're going to make us new material. You're going to make us new denizens. You're going to make us new creatures. You're going to build us all of these things. And now you don't have a signal to call for either an evacuation or more science support.
Yes. Okay. So that is an opportunity for innovation. So, okay. Things we know. We know. Typically, the Fermi only ever goes to inhabited planets. So there must have been something here before before Respo brought all the Dr. Morale things. Maybe they have some leftover technology. Okay. Friends, I'm gonna introduce you to a very, very important wizarding concept. This is called a hackathon. What we are going to do is we are going to gather into groups. We are each going to take a part of the problem. We are going to work that problem, and we are going to compete to find different solutions. Okay, so I want each of you to take an aspect of the problem in front of us, form a solution, and then we will compare and contrast those solutions and get to where we want to be.
This is a brilliant plan. I love this. I don't want my tone or the affect of my voice to imply that I'm not on top of the world. I think that this is a role or a consequence. And specifically the role is the consequence would be mortified because I can tell you how every single one of these creatures is going to interpret this prompt. And that is every single one of these creatures envisions the problem, the thing that you're describing, as creatures are dying off and we need to make more creatures, which means that if you do not make a roll at a 40, you are going to be confronted with a bunch of non-scientist animal monsters making more animal monsters, and that line about how you've been lucky enough not to puke in your spacesuit is not going to be true.
Yeah, I'm starting to regret the name hackathon, if I'm 100% honest. Let's go.
They think it's great. They're on board. They understood that immediately. It's not what you intended.
Okay, I've got a 29. I think Girl Boss should get me to 9 on that.
That you like immediately it is a managerial feat that you manage to prevent some horrifying crimes against nature unfolding here as people sort of like roughly begin working on things vaguely related to the technological infrastructure of the city.
Okay, I'm going to start assigning work groups. I want the badger-looking things. I want them looking around the city for any discarded or unused tech that looks like it might be useful. The things that look a bit like naked mole rats in suits, I want them going through documents, going through any blueprints, schematics, anything like that. And I want you guys, the pelican-looking guys, anything that can make a really, really bright light. I think just anything we can just shine into the sky just to get the ship's attention the old-fashioned way. This is very important, did the wizard have a thing called coffee?
Oh yeah, Wizard for sure had coffee. We all do you need coffee? We got coffee.
Bring me the coffee. Bring me the coffee. That is very important to this whole operation. I need the coffee now.
I can't describe to you how bad this coffee is. I can't emphasize how upsetting. This is This is coffee that has been synthesized about 17 times over. It tastes roughly like drinking a printer cartridge.
For a long time, Gordon's been drinking this like combination of funguses with caffeine pills ground up in it. So she just downs it and asks for more. She loves it. This is the best thing she's ever tasted.
I'm gonna roll. I think I'll have you roll.
Yeah.
I think this is Girl Boss.
Okay.
This is Girl Boss. The difficulty is I am following the instructions on the book and framing that this is a difficulty of 10 because this shouldn't work.
It should not in any reasonable universe. So, 20 minus 20. So, yeah, I'm okay. Somehow.
It shouldn't work.
No, it really shouldn't work. But here we are. What's happening?
You have managed to construct like a second and it is very much in the same way that it appears this entire city has been built, which is ripping engine parts out of a ship or ripping computer pieces out of a console and retrofitting them. It seems like you have been roughly able to build the approximation of a distress signal, and you flare it off, and you've got time for like a 1-sentence message that can get to the Fermi.
Come and get me. Bring guns.
I mean, and it shouldn't work, but like I think what we see from the distance is the Snoopy like haphazardly lifts up and like floats in your direction, having gotten relayed the signal from the Fermi. It like floats haphazardly towards you.
Okay, good. That's good.
Where are you meeting it?
Is there some sort of landing pad or something nearby?
There's like empty fields. Like it's like there's empty spaces where I think the Snoopy roughly touches down.
Okay. Well, in that case, I am going to instruct all my acolytes. I'm going to tell them to give themselves a massive round of applause. What I love about this is that these guys have managed to create technology far beyond anything we have on Earth from scrap metal, and Gordon is just going to take the credit for that. That is now her achievement. So she's going to congratulate them. She's just going to ask them all to just wait here. And then she is going to calmly walk out of the room, turn the corner, and then she is going to peg it. She is going to fucking leg it to where that ship is landing.
Give me a roll. This is going to be a 40.
I've got 76.
I think the second you start running, there like somebody steps out. Like you start running, somebody like immediately. I think like people start crowding you. Like start like looming as you start exiting the room. And the second you start running, there is a run after you. And I think this is full on knocking a point of health off. You are tackled as you are to be blunt. Tackled full speed by a gorilla.
Okay, that's got me down to 1 health, hasn't it?
Yep.
Right, I think I'm gonna spend some grit on that because I think I'm gonna need that point of health before I am through with this. So, do I get a cool injury or anything? What's the visual of that?
Gotta be. What's the cool injury? What's the cool injury that you get here? It is a black eye that is half of your face.
Yeah,
half of your face is bruised from forehead to chin.
Okay, I'm gonna just sort of hold my hands up in surrender and get up, and then I'm going to look in astonishment over the heads of all the acolytes, and then point and go, "The wizard!"
Give me a roll. I think this is a 60. I think this is.
I don't suppose it's a girl boss move to say look behind you and then run away, is it? It's not.
I was seriously debating if it was or not. I will leave that in your hands.
I mean, it's narrow enough. I think her natural authority brings that down to a 57. So
okay.
Yeah, do they turn a little bit?
I think some of them do. I think that I'm going to say everyone but the gorilla does. You still got to run from a gorilla with an aardvark snout and a prehensile tail.
Okay, well,
as it continues to loom closer and closer.
Yeah, I'm running again. I am pelting it. As far as we can go.
That's going to be another 40.
Okay. 25. Yes.
Oh shit.
Okay.
You managed to talk to me what this looks like.
Okay, so we're without wanting to get too Scooby-Doo about it, we are running down corridors, we are closing doors behind us, we're running down one corridor, then running back down the next corridor to try and lose track of them. Just absolutely pelting it as far as we can go. I think. Can we get out of the building at least? How far does that
I think you're out of the building. I think that you're out of the building.
Okay, do these
you can see the Snoopy from where you're at. This gorilla is now giving shouts, and there are giant frogs leaping towards your location.
Right, okay. So how outnumbered am I at this point?
Pretty outnumbered. I think 2 giant frogs leaping down the street in your direction, and also the gorilla at your back.
Are there things on the giant frog?
I don't think so. I not in my head. I think they are just calling the frogs to smash you as though they are like a police horse.
Right. Okay. No, considered riding on the giant frog. Would look cool, but I don't think that would work. So I think I'm just going to have to pelt it. Wait, this city, it was actually a city at some point. Are there cars or bikes or anything that isn't a giant amphibian?
I don't think so. I think this is there's probably, that's a really great question. I'm trying to decide. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask you I'm going to turn this around on you. I'm going to break down the logic of the city with all of the information that you have gathered. And you tell me if we feel like there would be vehicles or bikes or something.
Well, we're talking something that is built out from the spaceship.
From the spaceship with the intent of being one crackpot's Jurassic Park for a spaceship full of Earth animals that he then mutated into horrifying monstrosities.
Okay, wait, if this is actually meant to be some sort of tourist park, there would have to be some sort of tourist vehicle. You're not going to put tourists on the back of it.
That's kind of where my head was at. That's exactly where I was like.
So what have we got? Have we got like a tram or a tour bus? What are you going to give me?
A bike feels good. One of those. You know what it is? I think for maximum both comedy and horror and true to tourism experience. It's one of those.
Oh no! I know what you're going to say.
I don't know what the fuck you even call it. The mobile bars where it's like an 8-person bike with a bar in the middle.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I'm going to pedal the bar.
Yep. You were pedaling one bike of an 8-person bike.
Yeah.
I think this is another 40. This is a 40.
Okay, that is a 95.
I'm bumping up to a 50 because you. Okay, I was gonna bump it up to a 50, but I think that you jump on this and start to pedal, and it goes exactly the way that it sounds like it would go.
Yeah. Okay, can I detach one of the bikes from it? Is there any way to actually like get part of it off and ride it like a normal bike or even a fucking unicycle at this point?
I will say, and this is good. This is my way of inflicting a consequence. Um, you have a consequence of uh unstable, physically unstable, because what happens is the gorilla has grabbed the entire book, or has grabbed the entire like vehicle and smashed it so hard into a wall that there is like a functioning like unicycle type thing, but it is but like you have been rocked and like rattled in such a way that I'm gonna have to add +10 to any difficult, or minus +10 to any difficulty numbers. -10 to any difficulty
Okay,
numbers.
I think it is time to shoot the gorilla. I'm sorry, but I've got a gun. There's a gorilla. It intends me harm. I'm going to shoot the gorilla.
Sure.
And I got 75 for that.
The number to hit this thing was 60 if you want to spend 15 luck.
Yeah, okay, I'm spending 15 luck. That is... Yes. Gotta remember the luck. Yes. 15 luck.
It crumble, like you take one shot, it crumbles. People scatter in all directions. All hell is breaking out. But you have a clean shot at the Snoopy, and thus by extension a clean shot at the Fermi.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna... have these guys even seen a gun before? Just realized.
That's what I mean. I'm realizing the same thing, which like I think that's why as much hell has broken out. Like I think it is panic and terror. Like everybody is running away in such a way that I think has opened up a clean path. But like I think there's also, it is a moment of like a sheer terror. And if you don't act quick, it's going to be a moment of like, oh, this person wields life and death. We need this. Remember that line earlier where you said about did they kill the last wizard in an uprising?
Yeah, I remember saying that. That seemed like a really sensible question at the time. Okay.
Well, it's at the time that answer was no. Now it's seeming like that might turn into a yes.
Yeah, okay. Time to get on board the Snoopy.
Okay. I think this is a roll.
Okay.
I think this is a 40 -10 because you're unstable.
Okay, so that's a 30.
But also +10 because I think everybody is so freaked out that you've got a moment to act.
Okay.
So we'll stick it at an even 40.
32.
That's what you needed.
Yeah.
You are on board the ship.
Okay.
People racing towards you in all directions. You are able to like narrowly take off, and leaving this would-be horrifying Jurassic Park in the distance. You are able to like float barely away back to your ship, and we witness a bunch of animal creatures just sort of watching, and one of them just mutters, we'll catch the next one.
Well, that is a planet that I'll probably enjoy blowing up when the FTL drive spools up for this one.
Great. And that is the end of our scenario. That's game.
Excellent.
That ripped. That was good.
That was a lot of fun.
What was your favorite moment from play?
I think just Gordon finding a way to CEO while surrounded by grotesque animal hybrids.
That was great. I love that. Was distinctly joyful. The other question that I have for you is, do you feel adequately freaked out from a horror
Yes, I feel pretty freaked out. Yeah, there's
good.
The whole... Yeah, that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles table does a lot of work for you.
Just, it truly was like, I'll tell you the first thing that I rolled, I happened to roll the result cat 3 times, and I was like, I could keep rolling additional animals, but I also think I might just try to figure out what happens if you fuse 8 cats together.
I loved the Cat King. The Cat King was fantastic.
As soon as so the short premise of where I landed, like where I started was like, I kept floating around and I was like, what if you landed on the Tempest after Prospero's dead and all of the other creatures of the Tempest were just like, hey, we need a guy. Hey, are you that guy? Can we have you do this shit?
Yeah, no, I'm so glad that I picked Gordon because she was absolutely the worst and least qualified person to put here.
That was so good, but also weirdly perfect because of the horror opportunity of we're looking for a leader and being like, well, I'm a leader. And then, but that's going to come with some implications.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think anyone else would have been just a little bit too unqualified or a little bit too ethical. But Gordon, God damn it.
That was joyful. Thank you so much for playing this. I had such a blast. So real quick, before we wrap up, where can people find you and your work online?
You can find me at chrisfarnell.com. You can find me at Blue Sky, thebrainofchris.bsky.social. That's pretty much where I'm active these days. And you can find Fermi's Wake and Fermi's Progress for more adventures of Liz Gordon and co. at Scarlet Ferret, where you get all sorts of fun bonus extras and don't fund an actual space megalomaniac billionaire. Or, Amazon exists as well.
Fantastic. This was amazing. I'm beaming. And for now, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take a future me. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Chris for coming on to the show. That game was like such joyful, pulpy, weird horror. I had such a blast with it. It made me so, so happy. Really getting to play around that space was a joy, and I'm so grateful that you gave me that opportunity. This was magnificent. This is the kind of thing that I love doing on the show. Be sure to check the show notes for links to everything Chris has going on, including the latest novel in the Fermi's Progress series, as well as all the other cool stuff that he's writing at a given moment. And be sure to learn more about Disposable Bags of Meat. Again, a title that I insist on saying in full every single time. You can also follow Chris on social media at The Brain of Chris. You can also find us on pretty much whichever social media you prefer at Party of One Pod or Jeff Stormer, depending. And if you enjoy the show and you want to support it, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Subscribe to our newsletter at buttondown.email/partyofonepodcast and join our Discord community at bit.ly/partyofonediscord. You can support us financially at patreon.com/JeffStormer or ko-fi.com/JeffStormer. You can give us a nice iTunes review, shout us out to a friend, give us some love on social media. You can buy some Party of One merch at bit.ly/partyofonemerch. Or if you're looking for more great podcast content, you can check out All My Fantasy Children, which is a character creation, storytelling, and world building podcast that I make with my best friend in the world, Aaron Catano Saez. We take a listener submitted prompt and spin it into an original fantasy character, populating a shared universe one story at a time. You can also check out Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast, which is an actual play about a heartless witch, a cozy house, and the many people making their homes inside. Both of those you can find wherever you get your podcasts. Party of One is, as always, produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. Music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Rain featuring the D&D Sluggers, and the Party of One logo is by Evan Rowland. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates, coming on the show as a guest, or about press coverage of the show, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And unless I am mistaken, that is all we do here. So until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.